Most cheap used cars seem like a great deal at first, but once you actually own them, that's when the real cost shows up. Most people think buying something cheap is the smartest way to save money. Spend less upfront, avoid a car payment, seems like a win. But after owning older vehicles for years and actually tracking what they cost, I've seen the opposite happen a few times. The cheapest vehicles are usually the ones that end up costing the most, and a lot of people don't realize it until they're already too far into it. Now, I'm not saying go out and buy something new. I'm a big believer in used vehicles. We've made several videos over the last few weeks about keeping older vehicles longer, regardless of the high mileage. But there's a difference between buying something cheap and buying something that's actually a good value. And that line is getting harder to see. I'm curious, what's the cheapest vehicle you've ever bought? And did it actually save you money, or did it turn into something else? At least where we live, in Pennsylvania, things have changed a lot. There used to be a time where you could find a $1,000 car, maybe $1,500, something that would just get you by for a year or two. Those days are pretty much gone. Now, from what I'm seeing, if you want something that will actually pass Pennsylvania state inspection, even just for the first year, you're realistically around $5,000 minimum. Anything under that isn't inspected, won't pass inspection, or has something going on that's been ignored for a while. Where you're at, can you still find a legit cheap car under $3,000 that would actually pass an inspection? Because around here, I'm just not seeing it anymore. When you buy a $2,000 to $3,000 vehicle, you're usually not getting a deal. You're getting a vehicle where someone else stopped putting money into it. That's the simple way to put it. It probably has worn tires, the brakes are getting thin or are worn out, the suspension's really starting to loosen up, and rust has pretty much taken over. The bigger issues, they're usually not fixed, just postponed. So here's a couple examples. We'll change the names to protect the innocent. So let's say Fred finds a car for $1,500. It runs, it drives. It does have the check engine light on, but the previous owner says it's no big deal. And he figures it's fine for now. Inspection's only a few months out. He says, I'll just run it and see what happens. 3 months later, it's Pennsylvania inspection time. The shop looks at it and says, you're going to need about $5,000 in bodywork just to get it to pass. And that doesn't even include whatever caused the check engine light. Now Fred is sitting at $1,500 for the purchase and $5,000 for the repairs to pass inspection. $6,500 total, and it's still not a solid vehicle. It's still that same vehicle he bought for $1,500. Have you ever heard of something like this happening? Has it ever happened to you, where the cheap car ended up needing way more than expected? Now let's flip it another way. This is another story. Let's say Samantha's owned the same vehicle for 6 years. It's a Subaru in decent condition. She knows it. It's been maintained. It's reliable. But then the transmission starts acting up. The shop quotes $3,000 to fix it. She looks at the trade-in value, $500 towards something else, something that costs $8,000 or more. And now she's deciding, does she spend $3,000 and keep her known vehicle, this Subaru that she's had for 6 years, or does she spend $8,000 on something she doesn't know? In that situation, fixing the old car is often the cheaper move. Then there's the guy who says, you know what, I know someone who has an auction license, I can get cars cheap. And sometimes that works out. But there's a reason those vehicles are there at the auction. Someone, somewhere decided it wasn't worth fixing. Small dealerships will buy those cars, inspect them, and fix the issues before resale, because their reputation depends on it. But if you're skipping that step, you're also skipping the part where someone else has already found the problems and repaired them. Unless you're really comfortable doing repairs yourself, that cheap auction car isn't always cheap. Now this is the part that most people underestimate. It's usually not one big repair. It's the stack. Tires, $1,000. Brakes, $1,000 or more. Suspension, $1,000. Rust, inspection work, $5,000. Individually, none of it feels crazy, but together it adds up really fast. If you're buying from a privately owned small car lot, sometimes they offer a powertrain warranty. And I've got mixed opinions on these. Some are not worth the paper they're written on, but others can actually help if you understand what you're buying. You really have to do some research. We had an older Explorer that we kept for years. Each year, I'd buy the powertrain warranty on it from the small dealership I bought the car from, usually for about $200 a year. It only covered the engine and the transmission. That's it. But it was somewhat of a birthday present for the car each year to go back to that little dealership and add on the warranty for one more year. Then one year, the transmission failed. It took some phone calls, but they approved it. We got a replacement installed, and it saved us a significant amount of money when we didn't have a whole lot of money. So in that case, it worked out. Another thing people underestimate, as is, usually means exactly that. Some dealers will help out if something goes wrong right away. Others, once you drive it off the lot, a few days later if something fails, it's completely on you. That risk is built into the price, even if people don't realize it. What I've found over time is pretty simple. The cheapest vehicle is rarely the cheapest vehicle to own, because ownership cost shows up later in the form of repairs or downtime or surprises or stacking issues, and that's where people get caught off guard. If you had to choose between a $2,500 car that needs some work or a $6,000 car that's solid, which direction would you go and why? Oftentimes, if you've only got $2,500, that $2,500 car that needs some work seems like the cheap deal. But in the end, if it keeps costing you time and time again, it's not really the cheap car you thought it was. At the end of the day, it's not about what you pay for it. It's about what it costs you after you own it. And that's where the cheap cars stop being cheap. In a previous video, I showed an entire spreadsheet where I've tracked all the costs over 10 years for maintaining our 2009 Ford Expedition. And it's been pretty cheap. It wasn't a cheap car up front, but it's been a cheap car in the long haul. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative and entertaining, please give us a big thumbs up. Leave those comments down below about cheap cars, your experiences, or maybe the experience of a friend you have. And if you're not already subscribed to Purple Collar Life, please consider clicking that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. And then hopefully we'll see you again the next time.